We go. We are live.
Hello, hello. Very cool. I think people are just coming on in onto the room there. Right
Yep.
on. All right. So, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And you already know why you're here. We're going to be talking about the inFlow hardware that we offer. Just as we're getting started here and people are coming into the room, I'd love to know in the chat as well two things. One, are you currently using inFlow? So say yes or no, and if not, that's perfectly okay too. And the second part I'd love to know is also, what's your business? What industry are you in? Are you wholesale? Are you distribution? Are you retail? Are you e-com? Are you a mix of anything? And if you want to do a quick intro of what you sell as well and what you offer, you never know who you're going to meet in the chat as well. So it doesn't hurt to just do a very quick intro of who you are, you're using inFlow, and what's your business. We have Teresa, mix of botanicals, very cool. Public safety radios, Chris, solutions integrator from Jack. Awesome. So Jack, maybe you're a partner. Get in touch with me afterwards if you're a partner. I run our partnership program as well. Even is in distribution. We have electric, HVAC, awesome, solar, construction from Andy. Hey, Andy. Emergency vehicle upfitting. Wow, we have a whole bunch of different use cases. And I love asking this because it lets us also kind of customize the presentation to, who's watching right now, right? So Marcy also is an animal welfare nonprofit organization using inFlow for inventory management. Very, very cool. And as you may or may not be aware, because you're attending this live, there is the opportunity to actually win one of our fantastic scanners here. So to do so, what I'd love to see is, if you have a question, if you're participating in the chat, that's great. We'll typically save questions for the end, unless they're very relevant to what I'm talking about on screen. And even during the end as well too, if you have like inFlow related questions, we have Phil here. Phil's the expert on everything in inFlow, way more than me. You can try to stump him. I bet you can't. But we'll be here to answer whatever questions that you have. And we also have Cal here doing wholesale jewelry, Dylan's contract manufacturing, orthodontics, awesome inventory management. I had those. What are they called? Invisalign. Yes. Georgia's bookkeeping. Hey, Georgia, if you're doing bookkeeping and you want to join the partnership program, again, get in touch with me. We're looking for experts like yourself to recommend inFlow too. So very, very cool. We have a bunch of very big, diverse group here. I want to give a shout out to Dan as well, security, general tech. Awesome. Very cool. Okay, so with that, quick intros from us. So my name's Matt. You saw that on screen. I've been with inFlow for about 10 years now. I handle typically the business development side of things. So partnerships, like I was mentioning earlier, I was shouting out to those potential partners in the chat today. And I also take care of the hardware side of things too. Joining me, like I said earlier, we have the inFlow expert, Phil. Phil, I'll let you introduce yourself too.
Hey, if you come to any of these webinars before, you may have seen me either on here or in the chat. I am on the support team, senior technical advisor. So if you ever reach out with questions, usually I'm chatting with people or helping out in some way or the other. So I may have spoken with you already, but welcome, and we're happy that you're here.
Very cool. And we have Brooke as well, Dental Lab for inventory management. There's a couple dental applications here, which is interesting. I was just at the dentist yesterday. Fun fact. Okay, so what is a smart scanner, right? So the biggest misconception is that a smart scanner is just like another Android phone. When it is just like another Android phone, so you can actually use it to make calls. You can, it's unlocked, so it typically works, wherever you just pop a SIM card in. But what's interesting is that it actually has that laser scanner built into it. So hopefully I don't blind you guys. There's also a little LED light there. But besides that LED light, there's that red laser that puts the crosshairs onto something. and lets you scan right from the device. And we'll talk about a little bit why that's important in a moment too. So that's the biggest differentiator. Like, yes, it's a phone, but it has the laser built in, and on top of that, it's actually a little bit more rugged than a typical phone. Like this, you could probably drop in a warehouse or in any kind of business setting. With your personal phone, not so much, and we'll see why in a sec. So like you can see that's just the crosshairs that get put on. So when you're scanning up a barcode, for quick specs, for those that like the specs of devices, basically octa-core processor, you can scan stuff really fast. It has a 4300 milliamp battery, basically means will last all day. USB-C, so there's nothing proprietary. Like I mentioned, it's ruggedized, so not only is it 1.5 meter drop tested, but it's also splash resistant. You can throw it in water. I think you can actually dunk it in water too, and it's still good. And it's not ugly. So a lot of these industrial devices are like huge bricks, right? At least ours, it's actually fairly thin. It's comfortable to throw into your pocket. It won't. It's not an obnoxious device where when we were researching what else was out there, you would see what I mean by there's a lot of big, bulky, ugly ones that you just wouldn't use. I feel they're just too clunky to put around in the office. So when I say it's rugged, just how rugged is it? Well, it survives puppies, right? So hand it over as a dog toy, no problem. Can't chew through it, right? And we have Matt also doing HVAC install and service. Mutinda saying you're not audible for us. Kindly fix this. I think we're working for everyone else, so do check your audio. Although you can't hear this, but maybe in the chat if you can say that it seems to be working for other people, and maybe just if we can message Mutinda and just say, hey, restart it or join back in or something like that. So, like I mentioned, it's also drop tested. So I wouldn't recommend doing it on purpose, but we did just to test it out, and it survives. It's actually made for taking a beating. And what's interesting, this isn't us. We didn't do this. This is a little extreme, but we did get some interesting videos of somebody else testing these scanners. One of the tests, for some reason, was throwing it through drywall. I don't know why, but they did, and it survived. It was still working perfectly okay. They also wanted to show that it's dust resistance. So, for example, they threw it into a bag of sawdust, and as you can imagine, it still worked perfectly okay. They also wanted to kind of freeze it, so they put some exhaust on it, and yep, you guessed it, it worked. But that wasn't enough. They dunked it in a pickled tomato jar, and it still worked perfectly good. And then I think they cleaned it off with some alcohol. They wanted to spray it with some alcohol, see what would happen. No problem. It worked. Then we tried to freeze it. And I mean, not we, this was somebody else. This is totally somebody else. I wouldn't do this, but they did freeze this. Again, it was still working. And they also were thinking like, okay, now that we froze it, let's try doing something else because it's still alive. Let's drop it from a 2-3 story building. So they dropped it. So the impact, no problem. It was still working. And then finally, last but not least, they're like, okay, let's play hockey with it, right? So it played goalie, terrible goalie, but really good at standing up to a puck at least. And then I think at one point they actually made it the puck and they were passing it around. And again, it lasted, didn't break, pretty cool. And then finally they took a shower with it because why not, right? And again, you guessed it, it was still working. So as you can see, very rugged. It'll work. Very hard to break, but I don't condone doing all those activities with it. Please don't. So why might one of these devices be a good idea for your particular business? So in general, if you're not using a scanner, you probably should be. Let me know in the chat there if your products are barcoded or if you're interested in barcoding as well, because once you have kind of a system, everything gets sped up, everything starts working much more efficiently. And the interesting thing is when you are using one of these devices that have that scanner kind of built in, it's much faster too to be able to just scan using this versus trying to load the camera app on your own, say, personal phone. Other people like having these because It's a dedicated device for your office. So there's no like, hey, I have to use my phone for this or that. It's actually just specific, meant for the warehouse, meant for the office, meant for, the field. If you're doing installs, it's meant for whoever's using it. Plus, they can actually use it as their cell phone. So if you wanted to give a cell phone to, if you're doing field management, that sort of thing, you want to give a cell phone to your staff, you can use these guys, and we have customers doing that. Cool. Shelly has the products barcoded using the Dymo printer. Kayla, same as well. Caitlin has over 5,000 items barcoded. I hope you didn't do that yourself. That'd be a while. Very cool. Cal's doing some barcoding, but not very useful yet. Awesome. Tamara is here from Retail Warehouse. This looks great. Awesome. Just want to check the chats there. Kayla, if your charging dock broke, get in touch. We'll take care of you. Don't worry about that. Fully barcoded, Chris. Okay, Jack. Oh, not all products with the barcode yet. We're getting there. Okay. And the other nice benefit, so as you may or may not know, inFlow also has Android app as well as iOS. But with this device, it's actually optimized. The app is actually optimized for this device to take use of the screen, and it kind of knows that it has a laser scanner built in, and I'll show you the differences on that in a moment. And of course, you see the big box stores using them. There's a reason why they use them. It's just that much more efficient and professional. And Berserk, wow, has over 10K products. I'd love to know how many products is that the winner? And I'm probably not spelling the name right, but or saying the name right, Basirath has over 10K products. In the chat, let me know how many products you have, because that's impressive. Very cool. Craig was saying barcoding 80% completed here as well, using barcodes from vendor. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times people just use the barcodes from the vendor. Leia's from a laboratory. Very cool. Personal inventory tracking. Cal has 89. That's still a lot. A lot of our customers, I don't know, Phil, would you say 10,000 is a lot of products? To me, it seems like a lot, right?
10,000, yeah, definitely a lot more than I'd say
Typical.
our average customer.
Oh, Dylan so far winning at 19K items, not all barcoded yet. All right, 19,000. That's impressive. Kayla still at 1,200. Wow, cool. So I'm getting carried away here, but there are some accessories too. This is what the scanner looks like. We do have a fancy pistol grip to make it easier to work with in the warehouse if you didn't want to throw it in your pocket. But we'll talk about accessories a little bit later too. So, how does it actually work with inFlow? Well, it's really easy because it's an Android device. You simply run the Android app, and our app, like I mentioned, has optimization specific to the scanner. You'll see more screen real estate when you're using the app, and there's a dedicated pick button when you're doing guided picking. So if you've ever checked out guided picking, you can there's the side button, I believe, is used for picking the products as you go. So essentially, instead of with your own phone, there has to be a section for the phone to kind of see, what barcode that you're scanning. Takes up, like a third of the screen. What's nice when you're using the inFlow scanner is that you get the full real estate because it knows that you can just scan the product right away. There doesn't have to be that preview of what you're actually scanning and when. So why is this cool? Why even use the inFlow app in the first place? Well, you can actually create orders on the fly. So if you're at a trade show, if you're field management, you need to write up an order. You're doing a quote, you see what the job needs. You can actually do it right on the device right then and there. You can do mobile receiving too. So when you get your goods right at the loading dock, you can be scanning them in. You can be checking if you've been short shipped, which happens unfortunately more often than I would like it to. You can manage products right on the device too, even add pictures very easily. So obviously there's also a regular camera on the device. So you can go to your products, take pictures and save it right from your device. That gets synced everywhere. So then once you're on your, say you're on your desktop, say you're using inFlow Cloud for Windows, all your products will have nice photos with it as well too. And the easiest way to do that is through a mobile device. And Phil, correct me if I'm wrong if I say anything that's not accurate as well. You can also transfer stock, make adjustments in real time. So if you're in the warehouse, if you're in your area that has inventory, you see something's wrong, it's not calculated, you can actually make the stock adjustment right on the device. And like I touched on earlier, you can use mobile picking. So when you have orders, it's basically a step-by-step workflow that guides you through how to efficiently get stuff, from your warehouse into where you need it to go, into making a sales order. Cool. Okay. So just wanted to show you some screens on here on basically what it looks like. So if you wanted to add stock, there's literally a menu option in there just to hit add stock, and you can do that. For picking, this is what picking looks like. You can just check off the ones that you have, or obviously scan them in as you go. For receiving, same idea. You can scan the items as they come in. You would have mobile sales orders too, so you can actually see what was ordered and or create a new one. And like I mentioned too, you can transfer stock. So if you're in the stock room, you see something that you need to move, or you need to move from one location to another. You can do that right with the transfer stock screen there. And I have two videos here. I hope the second one works. This is the initial video, and it goes by a little bit quick, but basically in this, you can see here, you're actually scanning items that you basically you clicked an order, and then you scanned items that should be on the order. So let's see if that plays out. Yeah, so the order is picked, easy as that. Same idea with this one. I think in this case, we're using guided picking. So this is what guided picking looks like. So it makes the photo much bigger, so you can actually see, get a more better visual representation of what it is that you're looking for, and then also where the location is too. And as you're going, you're scanning it, right? And it actually just goes in there. So you can see in that screen, everything's been picked. You're good to go. Perfect. And I think that's, oh, and this is just receiving. So when you get the order, click open the order, you start scanning the items that should be there. And obviously here we're only just showing the, quantities are just one, but you scan it multiple times, and it will keep adding as you scan. And it also shows you on the right there the status. So if you started picking, it can show you the one that you've started. Also handy add unexpected products. So if you're overshipped, you can take care of that as well. And yeah, I think that's it just for the picking and receiving. See if this one's working. I think this is the similar idea. But here you can actually see what's being clicked. So this is like actually the better video as well. Okay. So in here, we're just scanning it multiple times. So you can see there it went up to the 5. There we're scanning 3 of them.
And this, again, you can use our mobile app to do a lot of this. Like, and if you want to test it out to even see how it would work, kind of thing, it's just because it doesn't have the scanner built into your phone. You have to actually like hit a button, pull up your camera, and then hold your camera over it, kind of thing. So the scanner just makes it so much faster and easier than having to kind of position around and fiddle that way.
And just wanted to highlight here, press side button to pick. So you get that dedicated button to be able to do that as well. Saves it, orders picked, and you're good to go. Cool. Okay, so it begs the question, like, yeah, you can preview all this on your own device, but then why use the smart scanner versus your own phone? Well, the smart scanner is at least 2 times faster when you're using the laser scanner. Like you mentioned, you do get the more screen real estate on the inFlow app because it's optimized specifically for the scanner. It's a dedicated device, and the biggest reason too, I feel, is you don't have to worry about replacing a $1,000 or $1,500 device if you drop it. Right? If you're using your iPhone, if you're using a fancy like my phone now, it comes bent, right? But if I was to drop this, it's that much more easy for it to break. And replacing these flagship phones are super expensive versus having a ruggedized Android device scanner that's made specifically for the job. You're less likely to break it, less likely to have issues with it. So Chris was asking, does the scanner run the same app my iPhone does? Yeah, it is the same app, but the difference is there's a hardware ID when it comes to our smart scanners. So the app knows to actually make some subtle changes when it's actually being run with the inFlow smart scanner versus any other generic device that's out there. So it does have some smarts in there to know. And like I mentioned earlier, more screen real estate, dedicated buttons when you're using our hardware versus your own. Okay, I see a bunch of questions coming up. No worries, we will answer a bunch of those towards the end. How about other scanners as well? Well, our scanner is actually, in terms of pricing, almost 50% less of what you can expect to pay from the bigger brands like Motorola and Honeywell, and while still being almost twice as powerful. So this is super interesting, and it was also very important when we were looking for a device for inFlow community, because the anytime a device is used or marketed towards business, they seem to like put the pricing way up there, and sometimes it's out of reach for small businesses to use. So in our case, we wanted something that was still affordable, but obviously very powerful as well to make it a good option. So just for example, with the smart scanner, ours retails for $1,000. Because you're on the webinar, you're also eligible for a special discount. We will get to that at the end. And some of the other devices that you might come across, this one's fairly popular, the Zebra. It's almost $2,000. It's running Android 4. I think they have an updated one for Android 6, if I'm not mistaken, which is still fairly old. What's the other part that's interesting is our Android ROM is certified by Google. Right now, it ships with Android 9. We do have an update available for Android 10. So if you have an existing scanner today and you wanted to upgrade it, we can give you that firmware to do so. Our battery is also removable, so not only does it make it easy to charge, it's also great if you want to swap batteries really quick. Our dock also charges the battery separately, so it's just an added feature. Talked about how ours is fairly thin. So for example, ours is about 13 millimeters. I don't know what that is in inches, but it's almost half the size thickness of some of the other devices that you might come across. We have a bigger screen size, almost 6 inches. The typical is under 5. And we do give you a 2-year warranty on the inFlow smart scanner as well. And Timothy was asking, quick, does the smart scanner have Bluetooth? Absolutely, has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and 4G. It's unlocked. You can use a SIM card, and you are good to go. So it's not just the best hardware device for inFlow. I think it's the best in the whole market. So yeah, I would say it's a good option if you are looking for a device. It is a good option to consider. In terms of accessories, kind of showed you this a little bit earlier, but we do have that grip. So the scanner kind of just pops more or less right in there. You lock it in on the side, and then you're good to go scanning. And it kind of makes it fun, right? You get to see a target when you're pointing, and you're good to go. I actually used side story. I actually did drop my phone about a year ago now, and smash. I had to wait for a replacement, so I was actually using the smart scanner as my temporary phone for a good couple months, right? And my son loved it, so I actually my son's 5, he was 4 at the time, but he got to play with it in this device, and I liked it because it was less likely for him to drop it. And yeah, he'd go around the house with it just like this, right? So it also doubles as a phone for your toddler.
Something that we all want to give our toddlers, right?
So we also have cases as well for it. The case is actually updated now. It has I have a shelf right up here, which is handy. It has a hand strap too, so if you didn't want the pistol grip, you still want to be able to throw it in your pocket. Comes with a little hand strap, which is pretty super convenient. There's a dock as well, so like I mentioned, you can just plop the scanner on there and charge it. But there's also an area for a separate battery if you wanted to do that. But Basarath was asking, how do I get it updated? Just get in touch with us, and I'll send you the updated firmware. There is I don't know if you've upgraded it once, so there is a upgraded firmware right now that we recommend. It's been tested, um, and that's just in the support article. So if you just search, inFlow Smart Scanner on our support page, there's a link there. In the chat, we'll be able to send you the direct link for that as well. But otherwise, yeah, get in touch. We do have an upgrade to Android 10 as well that we can make available for you. Yeah, so with the dock, you can actually charge a battery at the same time. We also have batteries available too in case you need it. But what we find is that the battery, if you're using the dock and you charge it every night, you're usually typically good. You don't necessarily need an extra battery. That's what it looks like when it's in the dock. It works with the pistol grip or with just the device itself without the pistol grip, and just some more fancy shots with it there. So summing up things, software is only half the picture when you're dealing with inventory. Having the proper hardware to make things more efficient and faster is great as well. Like that's why we recommend also the Dymo 450 as a label printer to print barcodes if you haven't already. It makes your operations that much more efficient. And then our scanners, what we strive to do is offer something that's not just the best specifically for inFlow, but the best in the market today as well. And since you're on this webinar, obviously you want a deal. Let me know in the chat if you want a deal. Give me a yes or a heck yes in the chat there. Caitlin, heck yes, yes. And Chris was asking a great question too. Any future plans to implement inventory count sheets into the app or make it easier to do spot checks with? I like that. I like that idea a lot. I don't know, Phil, if you have any visibility, if that's, I'm assuming that's already planned, but not
Yeah.
sure if it's worked on.
I know mobile count sheets is actually something that has begun development, so it will be coming soon. So
What has
keep keep
been?
keep your eyes peeled for that.
Very cool. Cal says, talk to me. Hi, Cal. I'm talking to you. Cool. We got yes for sure. Timothy, yes. Awesome. Okay, very cool. So because you're on the webinar today, you can use the code webinar at inflowshop.com, and we could put that link in the chat there as well. And you actually get an extra $100 off the smart scanner, so it brings it down to $8.99. So you'd be good to go with that promo code. Super easy promo code too. How can you go wrong with just webinar? And yeah, that's what we have for you today. So what I'd like to do is I'll leave that up there just for a second for you to copy that down. What I'd like to mention is oh yeah, there's also the draw. We have to give somebody a smart scanner, right? How could I forget how could I forget that?
I also did write down a couple of people's questions that I don't know if you wanted to take a stab at.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. So let's go through the questions. And if you haven't asked a question yet, it's a really good time to put one in here. If you've asked a question or you've said anything in the chat, we should have been able to get your name for the draw. So yeah, if you haven't asked anything or if you haven't participated in the chat, please do so we can see you. And what'll happen is we'll do a random spin of a wheel, and whoever it lands on gets the smart scan. You'll have to get in touch with us to get your shipping details, but that's how we'll make it work. In the meantime, yeah, hit me with some questions, Phil. I'll try my best.
okay, well, I see Jack there just asked a question. So USD or Canadian? The price is USD
Yeah.
for the smart scanners. I know Jack also had a question earlier. Is the scanner made in China?
Just like the iPhone, it is made in China. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Susan was saying, how fast is the scanner? It would drive my team crazy if they're slow.
Yeah, so I mean, it's it, you try it out. I'd say. I mean, worst case scenario, we do offer 30-day money back guarantee. But yeah, give it a go. It's typically fine for most businesses. I mean, maybe if you have 20,000 products or something like that, there might be some issues. But the best thing I could suggest is, yeah, try it out, buy one of them. If you have any issues with it, let us know, and we can help you out with it. But yeah, generally speaking, people are happy with it.
Cool. I see also. Sorry, we got a whole bunch of questions now. Jack was asking, do you have a bundle price for the dock, battery, and grip?
It's a good question. With the get in touch with me. I'll see if I. So I think with the promo code here, with the $100 off, I think that takes over any bundle stuff that we've done before. Like this is the best discount that we've offered as of late. So the short answer of that is no. But if you were buying multiple scanners, we have some customers, for example, that'll buy 5 at a time. We've had some people buy 19. And then in that case, then we can work into more of a bundle. But with this, you're getting the best possible deal off the uh, off the scanner today.
Cool. So yeah, I see. Sorry if I mispronounce it. Basarath is kind of helping out answer on there too. Just that depending on how big the orders are and everything like that, if it's a really large order, then it could take a little bit longer. If they're smaller size, I think kind of the main thing to keep in mind is that this is still accessing everything on the cloud. So a lot of it is going to be dependent on your internet connection speed. So depending on how fast it can load into the program itself or into the app, sorry, itself, kind of thing, will depend. So hopefully you have a good Wi-Fi, or again, as Matt said, it does have the capability being on like 4G or anything like that. If you wanted to get a data plan with your provider or anything like that, then you can definitely do that.
That's a
Sorry,
good. I was
whole
going to
whole
emphasize that point too, because a lot of warehouses, if you're working in a warehouse, the Wi-Fi is not necessarily great. If you pop in an inexpensive data SIM, like in Canada, data SIMs actually they've come down in price. They used to be kind of expensive, but as of recent, I mean, usually anywhere else in the world, you can buy a data SIM, and getting that 4G connection is going to be fast enough to make it fly.
Cool. So I guess we'll kind of go rapid fire because I see a whole bunch coming in here.
Okay.
But Cal earlier had asked, how do you scan pick an order if you need like 600 of one SKU? Can you scan once and then add the quantity? And yes, you can. So when you're in the actual picking screen of the app, you can actually click like the little dots at the side. It'll open up a menu and you can then input the actual quantity that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't
Martin was
need to
at
scan all 600. That would be a
yeah.
pain.
You do want to stress that people are actually physically counting and making sure you did get all 600 though, because I've seen in my previous experience a lot of times when people don't and they just assume it's there, and that causes inventory headaches like nobody's business. Um, Martin had asked, can you use the scanner without the app? For example, scanning 1200 serial numbers to an Excel sheet. You might be able to speak better to that. I mean, it
Yeah,
is,
totally. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's actually a really good question. I'm glad that you asked that. So you can load up Office, like mobile, Microsoft Office for mobile or whatever they call it. And yeah, you can scan your serial numbers right into an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc or whatever it is. The scanner will basically take whatever you scan as text input. So as long as you highlight the cell that you're scanning it into, 100% you can do that.
And it is like an Android app or Android phone essentially, so you can load on any programs. You do a notepad. It has its own built-in scanner app and stuff too, so you can kind of customize and do things like that. So, great question. I see. Sorry again if I mispronounce this. Mutinta asked, "Is it possible to increase the RAM size? 4 gigs seems rather slow if one is scanning lots of products."
Right now, no. So we can't because it's a hardware thing. But in the future, potentially, yeah, we'll have another device maybe that has higher RAM on it.
Cool. Brody had said, "Will having 30,000 part numbers with multiple barcodes make this too slow?" So I mean, The total number of products you have isn't what would necessarily make it slow. It's probably going to be the amount that are on the order itself, because again, it's basically just once it's loading the data. So really, it's going to depend on your connection settings and everything too. Again, I would say a really good test for this is try loading the app on like a phone you have around already, so you can kind of test out like pulling up an order or something and see how fast that comes up. Um, Samantha had an awesome comment saying, "Newest member to my company and was shocked when I found out they had no inventory system. Found inFlow and was showed what it was capable of to my boss, and he fell in love. It was so easy for our crew to get used to, and we will not be going back." So
Amazing,
that's
amazing, awesome.
fantastic to hear. Jack did ask, "How many hours can the scanner work with a full charge?"
I don't know the specific number because obviously it depends on usage, but typically using it throughout a day, it still has enough battery life left. It's over a 4,000 milliamp battery, but with the dock charger, extra batteries, you're all set for all day battery life, and that shouldn't be a concern.
Cool. Dan had asked, can you set more than one barcode per SKU? So you technically can in inFlow. You just put in the first barcode, comma, the second barcode, and it should be able to separate or identify them that way. So that's cool. How do we get started after purchasing the scanner? Is there a how-to video available? Like I'll be starting from scratch?
Yeah, so I mean, we're here to help. Obviously, you have if you're subscribed to inFlow, you have support with you. But yeah, we can get you started. Just it's fairly straightforward, but by all means, any questions come up after you purchase it, we're here to help. There's also onboarding hours if you haven't used those yet. I don't know if you're relatively new to inFlow, but that's an option to get you up and going with the scanner too. I believe it's 2 hours of free onboarding. But otherwise, get in touch with us. We're here to help you out, and we do have some resources on the scanner as well.
Cool. And I think there may be. I know Cal was asking if there's a minimum size for barcode, and Brody had asked if it'll work with QR codes. I'm gonna get all the names in the spinner so we can get
Okay,
that going.
yeah,
So
I'll field it. Yeah,
if
if you want to take care of that, because Kayla wants the draw. It made me laugh. I agree. It's like, why am I waiting through all this? I got to get back to work. Um, cool. So, Cal, the minimum size for barcodes that the scanner will read, it does a really good job. I mean, there is a specific spec to it, but as long as the barcode, and we've tested it on a whole bunch of barcodes, even like little jewelry labels. So my guess is there isn't a barcode that it won't read, but obviously resolution plays a big factor in it. But if any other scanner can read it, ours can read it as well, including QR codes. So you could, but keep in mind QR codes, yes, it can contain a lot of data, and you can actually make your barcodes into a QR code. Right now, if you scan a QR code, it'll come out just as a one line of text, and that text will work. So you can scan QR codes. However, the biggest benefit to QR codes is that you can get multiple lines of information. But right now, our software doesn't use those multiple lines of information anyway. However, side note, secret insider news: we're looking into stuff. We actually recently partnered with GS1, and one of their bigger pushes is to use 2D barcodes, even to replace the common GTIN or the UPC barcode. So we're working very closely with them to see if we can implement that into the software as well. So we're right on the cutting edge. I feel. um, Kevin's looking into seeing if we can make inFlow work for the operations. I hope it can. And obviously, if you need any help, I'm sure you've talked to our sales team. But if you need any more help, please do get in touch. Happy to help you with that. Um, let's see if there's anything else here.
almost got them all in. Just a minute.
Cool. Teresa was asking how long would it take to barcode 150 products? Kind of like how a day, maybe. I mean, basically, we can also generate barcodes for you, or you can make up your own. If it's internal use, you can actually just make up your own naming system. And then it's a matter of printing them out. Printing out 150 different barcodes is pretty easy with a Dymo label printer 450. We don't typically recommend the 550 because Dymo went proprietary with their labels. But if you need a 450, get in touch. We have a very few limited number of label printers available. Like I think it's under 10. But if you need one, we can for inFlow customers, we can sell you a Dymo 450. you just print them out, and it's the time that it takes you to stick them on, right? If you can get your vendor or your manufacturer to do that, even better. And if you have your products going into retail, that's when you want to look into getting a GTIN, which is that UPC looking barcode. And you get that through like a GS1 organization. So gs1.org can set you up with a proper GTIN. And I think we got
Cool.
all the questions. So if you don't have any inFlow questions, I mean, or you don't want to hear the answers to some inFlow questions, feel free to jump off. Otherwise, I did see something come up with units of measure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, actually, sorry, I'll answer one quick. I see Maxine Herbert had asked if my inFlow is on desktop computer, how does the scanner connect? So, depending what you're talking with inFlow, we do have two products. So we have inFlow Cloud and inFlow On-Premise. On-Premise was our older one, which is like an offline. Just works on your computer on your own internal server. So if you have on-premise, unfortunately, it will not connect. You do have to be on inFlow Cloud, which is where we store all your information online, and that way you can access it through the app and the scanner and everything like that.
Notice I field all the harder questions to fill.
How would we handle different units of measure in inFlow? So we're set up to handle both. So you can set your standard unit of measurement. That's kind of what you count all your products in. So usually that would be like each if you're looking at everything individually. You can also then set a sales and a purchasing unit of measure so that inFlow can kind of calculate the cost and the prices of stuff based off of that. So for example, like if I buy cases of Coke that come in 6 cans in a box or whatever, my purchasing unit of measure would be 6 or 1 case equals 6 each, and then maybe I sell them individually, so I'm going to be selling them at a 1-to-1 kind of thing. So I'm tracking them at the individual level, but I'm purchasing them at the case level. So inFlow will then do that calculation down to the individual rather than having to kind of do that yourself.
And Jack was asking if the scanner will work with inFlow on premise. So no, it doesn't work with on premise because it's locally stored. The scanner uses the mobile app, which is connected to the cloud and has to be connected to inFlow Cloud for it to work. But I mean, you can. I was gonna say you could. I was trying to. It doesn't work. Easiest answer is it doesn't work with on premise.
Unfortunately, no. Yeah, you would need like a plug-in scanner or something like that to work with on-premise.
Which we do sell too, by the way. So we do have USB scanners as well that just plug right into your desktop.
Cool. Jeffrey, I saw you had a question. Any updates of inFlow will put pictures on the invoices? Right now, we do have a very small picture, I believe, that prints on if you're using the web app, so from app.inflowinventory.com and you print them out. I know it does on reports. Actually, maybe not on invoices now that I think about it. I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. That's on reports. I will log that as feedback. I'm not sure if that's something that they're planning on adding, but every time we put in a feature request, they take a look at how many people have kind of voted for those things. So basically, yeah, anybody, if you have suggestions or things that you would like to see, send it into support at inflowinventory.com. We love to hear it. And again, we record every single one, and the higher ups kind of take that into consideration when they're planning what to do next.
Yeah, another little piece of like insider information. Anytime you make a request for a feature or an idea, whatever it is, those don't go unseen or unheard. It just as Phil mentions, we put them into a channel, and the co-founders actually look at them. So make those requests, make that feedback known. We're happy to work and do what we can to make inFlow better for the rest of the community. Did we lose Phil? I think we lost Phil. You guys are stuck with just me. Oh boy. Chris was asking if you post a feature request to the Facebook group, does it go to support? Yeah, so it does. So regardless of where the best, I think. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you post it. If it's on Facebook as well, they'll take that post from Facebook and they'll throw it into the feedback channel too. So yeah, we will do that. Good, Phil. Hey, Phil's back. This is great because I just
There
saw
you
Dan's question about a 250-meter reel, and I was like, "Oh, I hope Phil's back for that one."
go. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. Suddenly everything just disappeared.
No worries.
Okay, sorry, catching up. If you post a feature request on the Facebook group, yes, we do get it. If you buy a cable, it comes in a 250-meter reel or a 500-meter reel, same manufacturer, part code. You'll be able to set 2 units of. So no, you unfortunately you can't set 2 units of measurement for the same product. Again, you're kind of, I guess the way that we're looking at it in inFlow, you gotta decide what level you kind of want to track it at. So are you tracking it at like the reel level? So you want to track that you have 5 250-meter reels or 500-meter reels, or do you want to track that you have 250 meters of the cable kind of thing at a time, or 500 meters of it, and then that way you can kind of just work in increments that way. So I think it's kind of mainly more just dependent on the base level that you're actually tracking it at. So like if you only sell them in a reel, it probably makes more sense to track it that way. But if you actually sell it by the foot or meter or something like that, then you'd want to track it more macroly.
Jack, take care. Thank you for coming. I know it's late for you there, but yeah, if you're a partner or if you want to sign up to be the partner, get in touch with me. My email is just matt@inflowinventory.com. So you can get in touch with me too if you're not already a partner.
And
Jay
I see.
Herring. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, no, yeah, sorry. I see people were answering about the way to set up first in, first out, like costing methods and everything too. We do have an article that goes over the different costing methods as well too, so you can do that as well.
Cool. So
Oh,
I
look, and
think
Jay Herring's giving a really cool little kind of workaround too as well for Dan there. So that's definitely cool. Actually, I'll have to try that. I've never tried doing that myself. So
nice. Okay. Okay, I think we are good to wrap up. Thank you everyone for attending this afternoon. If you're in, in Eastern Standard Time, and thank you for attending if you're from around the world, like Jack, midnight in Asia there. Um, I just saw another comment from Alvia. I guess you're in the partner program to small companies due to the high monthly cost compared to sales. Yeah, get in touch. I can go over some strategies for you as well. So again, appreciate you guys' time for being here. Hope this was informative. Hope it was fun. And yeah, be in touch. And we got to do these more often. I mean, we do webinars all the time, but I feel like I got to do some webinars more often. This is a lot of fun. So we'll talk to you soon. And again, thank you so much for attending.
cool. Thank you everybody, and yeah, again, send us any questions, comments, anything. Support at Inflow Inventory. We're always here to try and help out, and yeah, we appreciate you coming by.
Cheers. Take care. Bye for now.